first one we're going to do is review. All right, number 1, find all roots of f of x equals x to the 4th plus 8x cubed plus 15x squared minus 32x minus 76. If -4 plus root 3I is one root. All right, definite test question. Yes?
What's the number after the 32?
Minus 76. Find all roots of f of x equals x to the 4th plus 8x cubed plus 15x squared minus 32x minus 76. If -4 plus root 3I is one root. Does anybody remember what to do? We had this on block days lesson at the end. Told you guys kids struggle with this on tests. Okay, we make it equal to x. I heard two people talk. Make it equal to x, and Key said work backwards. Do you guys agree? -4 plus root 3I. Yes? All right, how many roots, or how many, how many roots should I end up with at the end? 4. 4, right? Because the degree is 4 and I have 1 right now. They gave us 1. All right, what do we do here? Add 4 to the other side. X plus 4 equals root 3I. What do I do to both sides? Square it. And you do have to FOIL that. X plus 4 times x plus 4 comes out to be what?
X squared plus 8x plus 16.
Perfect. X squared plus 8x plus 16. What's root 3 squared become?
3.
Just 3. And I to the second is I squared. And I squared is what? I squared is -1, which means 3I squared is -3. Do you guys agree with that? Okay, we talked about that on block day reviewing, reminding you that I squared is -1. What do I do with that 3? Add it over. X squared plus 8x, and what does that become? Plus what? And I said this before, what do kids usually do here? Try to factor, solve, complete the square, quadratic formula. Is that something you should do? No, because what are you doing if you do that? Going right back to where you started. Don't. All right. Does anybody know what to do next? Good job. Do you guys? All right. So trying to get you to recognize right now, recognize when this is a long division problem. Okay, usually when they give us roots, we plug it in the box and use synthetic. When I can't use synthetic, long division is our only other choice. All right, so we set up our long division problem. On the outside is the x squared plus 8x plus 19. And on the inside is this polynomial here. X to the 4th plus 8x cubed plus 15x squared minus 32x minus 76. And I'm going to go ahead and let you guys try that now. Because we got this polynomial here from a root, that means this is a factor, which means the remainder should be what? 0. Got it? Okay. And it looks really long, but it's not, because there's 3 terms on the outside. It does go fast. Did you guys get an answer? Did the remainder come out to be 0? Okay, so x squared times what is x to the 4th? X squared, distribute, what does that give me? X to the 4th plus
8x
plus,
19x squared.
all right, and then what do we do with all of our signs? Change, because we're subtracting, distribute the negative. First one should always cancel out. Anything else is bonus. Does the second one cross out as well? And that's okay. Kids freak out when that happens, but it is okay. 15x squared and negative 19x squared is what? Minus 32x, and I'm going to go ahead and drop the third one as well to make the 3 terms. What is that?
It's negative 4x.
Thank you. Negative 4x squared minus 32x minus 76. X squared times what is negative 4x squared? Negative 4. Distribute. Negative. Nope, positive. Sorry. Negative 4x squared minus what? 32x minus. And then what do we do with our signs? Change them. Plus, plus, and plus, and what happens to everything? Remainder 0. Should the remainder come out to be 0? Yes, because it is a factor. And we know it's a factor because we got it from using one of the roots. Yes?
Do the signs always change?
Yes. When you're subtracting, if it was just the one term, we would just do x to the 4th minus x to the 4th. But since there's multiple terms, you're distributing the negative is what we're doing.
So it just changes to the opposite?
Yep. So if it's plus, it becomes minus. If it's minus, it becomes plus.
No matter what?
No matter what. All right. Does anybody remember what to do next? What do we do with this piece right here? They're not asking us to write it in factored form. They're asking us for the roots. What is that?
Expand it.
Expand it. Synthetic.
That you take the x squared plus 8x whatever, and then you subtract
To find the rest of the roots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zero.
Set it equal to 0. Why can we do that? Why can we set it equal to 0? Is it ready to solve? Yeah. If it was the one we did yesterday was like this, 6x plus 5, that we just set equal to 0 and solved. There was no factoring. It was just negative 5/6. Do you guys remember that? Or block day? This one, we can factor or add the 4 and square root both sides. Either way, what does our solution come out to be? 2 negative 2?
Yeah.
Or plus or minus 2? Either way. All right, and then what was the root they gave us? Negative 4. Okay, I heard plus or minus, and nobody else has said that so far. Do you guys agree that it should be plus or minus?
Yeah.
All right, did anybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, now what if I didn't see that and I just wrote this? How should we know this is wrong?
Because there's 4.
There should be 4, and I only have 3. And what was that theorem called we learned on block day? Conjugate root theorem. If I have a 4 plus root 3i, or negative 4 plus root 3i, then its conjugate is also a root. Negative 4 minus root 3i. Now, technically, when we did it yesterday, or block day, we wrote it like this, negative 4 minus root 3i, and we did the plus or minus there. And when we squared both sides, did the plus or minus go away? So if we forgot to do it in the beginning, is it okay? We still get the same answer, but should you remember at least at the very end to put it in? And again, how can you catch it? 4 roots, we only have 3. The conjugate root theorem, the 4th one is there. Definite on the test. Questions? All right. Number 2 is not review. It is kind of review with one little new piece in there. Write a 4th degree polynomial with roots equaling 1/2, parentheses, m equals 2. What does m mean? Multiplicity. and 6 parentheses m equals 2. And a y-intercept of -4. The new piece here that we didn't have before, because we have done these before, is the y-intercept was not given. So that does change things just a little bit. All right. Y equals, or f of x equals, if they give you a y-intercept or an ordered pair, either one, you're going to have to find a. There will be an a in your polynomial that you will have to find. All right, so when we did these a few days ago, maybe last week sometime when here it is. Given the zeros, write an equation. We just wrote them like this. Do you see that we didn't write any coefficients in the front? Do you see that? No a values. What's different from that and the one that I just gave you? There's a y-intercept. A y-intercept or a point, an ordered pair, you're going to have an a value. All right, I'm going to put parentheses. Instead of x minus 1/2, you can do x minus 1/2, but what is the way I like you guys to do it? 2x minus 1. And then what am I going to have here? X minus or plus? Minus, and then what am I missing? Squareds on one or both? Both. All right, degree is 4, degree is 4th degree. Now, really quick, if you like this way better, is that okay? If you think you're going to write it that way on the test, then do it that way now and work it out. That is perfectly fine. This is the one I'm going to use, but if you want to do it this way, you can, and I'll give you the answer for that one at the end, because they do end up with 2 different a values. All right, I'm going to use this one. And any thoughts on how we find a?
Plug in -4 for x.
Plug in -4 for x. For y? Or are you asking why? Are you asking why or saying plug it in for y? Okay, he's saying plug in for y, someone else saying plug in for x. What do I plug in for the other variable? What is this as an ordered pair? The y-intercept is -4. Think of -4 on your y-axis. Put the dot 0, -4. So now, do we know what to plug in for x and plug in for y?
Yeah.
Yes? All right, so what do I plug in for y? -4 equals a is what I'm looking for, parentheses, 2 times blank minus 1, parentheses, blank minus 6. And what am I plugging in the blanks for all of the x's? 0, 0. And I'm going to have you guys find your a now. And I did forget my squares, so I'm going to put them in now. Apologies. Don't forget your squares. Anybody have it? What does a equal? A equals what? -1/9. Anyone else? Yes. All your test stuff is there. Did you get the formula sheet? Yeah. Okay, yes. All right. -4 equals -1 squared is 1, -6 squared is 36a. And when you divide both sides by 36, it's not -9, it's -1/9. Do you agree? All right, and then you have parentheses, 2x minus 1, quantity squared, x minus 6, quantity squared. And I'm going to put y equals. Y equals -1/9, 2x minus 1, quantity squared, x minus 6, quantity squared. Did anybody use the X minus 1/2? No one? All right, again, it is possible, you can do it. You would end up with a different A. It's still negative. It's negative 4/9 parentheses X minus 1/2 squared, X minus 6 quantity squared. Both answers would be correct, and on the test, when I work them out, I do have both of these worked out, so depending on which way you work it. All right, questions on this? Before I go further, do you agree, for the most part, it is review? It's just throwing the A in there, which is something you've done before anyway. All right, number 3. Write a 4th degree equation with roots equaling 3 parentheses m equals 2 1/2 -3 and f of 1 equals 2. All right, how is this similar to the last one? We have to write the equation. We have a point, is what you said? Okay. Okay, how is it different? The last one, they gave us the y-intercept. Did this one give us the y-intercept? No. What did I say earlier? They're either going to give you the y-intercept or give you a point. Is this an ordered pair in disguise? Yes. What is x? What is y? 1, 2. So is this something I can still plug in for x and plug in for y and get an answer? Yes? All right, so do that now. F of x equals, or y equals, a parentheses x minus 3, either x minus 1/2 or 2x minus 1, your choice, and x plus 3, and where did I mess up if I worked this out? Which one? Well, how do I know that should be squared? Multiplicity is 2. Any other ones squared? No. All right. What are you going to plug in for y? 2. What are you plugging in for a? Nothing. We don't know it. And what do we plug in for all of our x's? 1. 1 minus 3 quantity squared. 2 times 1 minus 1, and then 1 plus 3. All right, go ahead and work it out now. What did you get for A? 1/8, anyone else? 1/8 or a different number? 1/8. Do I need to show the work, or you guys good? No? A is 1/8. Did anybody use x minus 1/2? Yes, what did you get for your A? I have positive 1/4. Can you double check? Is it positive? All right, and that is correct. And I'll write that one out in just a little bit. Okay, so we have y equals 1/8 parentheses x minus 3 squared, 2x minus 1, and x plus 3. Or y equals, and Nick, what did you say you had? 1/4 x minus 3 quantity squared, 2x minus, no, not 2x minus 1. What would that be instead? X minus 1/2, and then x plus 3. Again, either one of those are correct. Do you have to write both of those every single time? You do not. It's just showing you either one depending on which method you use. Questions on that one? All right, number 4. On number 4, I'm giving you a graph instead of this given information up here, and we're going to see if we can work backwards from that. All right, I'm going to give you some intercepts on your graph. All right, -5, +2, +7, and a y-intercept of 14. All right, and it's going to look like this. Bless you. All right. Anything we can tell about the polynomial right off? Is it an even degree or an odd degree? Even. Should the leading coefficient be positive or negative? Negative. Can you tell, right here you guys told me even, but I only see 3 x-intercepts. Why is that? There's a bounce where? On the 2, which means that is a multiplicity of 2. All right. So what from this can I list my roots? What are there? Are my solutions? -5. What's the other one? 2. And what do I put next to it? M equals 2. And what's the last one? 7. And do we know the y-intercept? Yes, the y-intercept is 14. Can we write that as an ordered pair? 0, 14 or 14, 0? 0, 14. All right. Y equals a parentheses x plus 5 or minus 5, and then x plus 2 or minus 2. And what do I put on the minus 2? Squared, and x minus 7. I will tell you this. Do not put a negative a here. Don't say, well, I know it's negative, so I'm going to make it negative a. What should happen with the a value on its own? It should come out to be negative. So I'm going to let you finish. What are you going to plug in for y? 14. And what are you going to plug in for all the x's? 0. All right, go ahead and do that now. find for A? Negative what? I hear. Blah, 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 blah.
1/10.
Okay. A equals negative 1/10. Final answer, y equals negative 1/10
X plus 5.
x plus 5,
X minus 2
x minus 2 squared,
squared. X minus 7.
and x minus 7. A mistake I see sometimes on the test with the y-intercepts in these problems, they do this, they write it like this, and they don't find the a, but they just say, oh, if the y-intercept's 14, then I'm going to put a plus 14 at the end. Can I just do that? No, when is that last number count as the y-intercept? When it's in expanded form, not when it's in factored form. Do you see that? So kids will be like, oh, it's the last number, plus 14. No, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You do have to do some work. Okay, questions? All right. Number 5. Write a cubic equation with roots -2, 4. One of them is a double root. With a y-intercept equaling 32. All right, I want to address the y-intercept first. What does it mean if the y-intercept is 32? What's the ordered pair we're going to use? 0, 32. Did it tell us which one's a double root? No, so how many possible solutions are you going to have? 2. All right, I'm going to write the first one out. Y equals a, we don't know what a is, x minus 2 or x plus 2? Plus, and then y minus 4. Now, it doesn't matter which one you make squared first, so I'm just going to put it here. Thank you. Okay, and that's just too small altogether. All right, so what did we say? Y equals a, x plus 2 quantity squared, x minus 4, and what's the other scenario?
The x minus 4 squared.
X what?
Minus 4 squared.
The x minus 4 is squared. All right, so it's same thing. The only difference is you're just going to double work on something like this because you're doing 2 of them. In both scenarios, what are you going to plug in for x? 0, and what are you going to plug in for y? 32. All right, go ahead and work that out for each one. And you will have different a values. All right, do you have the first A yet? -2, and the second A? +1. Do we all agree? All right, so we have y equals -2 parentheses, x plus 2 quantity squared, x minus 4. And in this one here, we have y equals, do we have to put the 1? If it was -1, would I need to put the negative? Yes. X plus 2 and then x minus 4 quantity squared. 2 possible solutions. Questions?